What is up, Insaners, and welcome to this week's super exciting episode where we'll be helping you prepare your team for Game Week 29. We'll be going through the top 3 free hit drafts for this week. We'll also talk about the best players and strategy to go for in case you're not using a free hit in Game Week 29. For those of you who are also planning for the upcoming game weeks, we did a strategy video a few days back, and that should help you prepare the best team for game weeks 28 to 34. Make sure you check that out. You'll find a link to the same at the end of this video, plus I've also mentioned it in this video's description. In case you like our free hit drafts and find this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button. That'll really help us in getting more such videos and FPL content for you guys. As always, if you're new around here, subscribe to our channel Insanely Football for regular FPL content. We do videos on transfer strategies, best players to target, differential picks along with top captain picks every week and overall chip strategies. Let's start today's video by first talking about the fixtures that we have in Game Week 29. Now, there are only 4 games happening this week because of the FA Cup quarter-final this weekend. The first game this week is Fulham vs Leeds. Fulham have recovered really well in the second half of the season and are the informed team among the bottom clubs. Their opponents Leeds would move closer to the top half with a win, and it should be a good game. The second game this week is super important in terms of the relegation battle as Brighton face Newcastle, and both managers would love to get a win in this one. Next, it's the battle between the London clubs with West Ham facing Arsenal at home. Hammers have played really well this season, and a result against the Gunners would be significant if they want to play the European competitions next season. We end the week with Tottenham playing Aston Villa. Both clubs are in the top half right now, but Mourinho is definitely eyeing those Champions League spots. I think before we get into the free hit team structure and drafts, it's important to understand as to why one should play the free hit chip in Game Week 29. Now, a lot of people have asked me this question. Should they use their free hit chip in Game Week 29? I think it's pretty simple, to be honest. In case you only have 3 to 4 players in your team who have a game in Game Week 29, you should definitely think of using this chip. Now, if you already have at least 6 players who play this week, you could actually get away without using the free hit chip. Making a couple of transfers would take you to about 8 to 9 players who play this week. That should be enough to help you be around the average number of players who play this week. Obviously, the more players you have, the better, but 8 is a pretty decent number for this week. Now, I'm sure a lot of managers who probably have less players right now and don't even have their free hit chip available would be thinking of taking a few hits this week. In my opinion, it only makes sense if you want to hold those players for at least the next 2 to 3 weeks. Taking so many minus points for a single game week doesn't make sense. A lot of managers would have similar teams this week, so there's not much to gain till the time all your punts score big hauls, which doesn't always happen in FPL. Obviously, taking a couple of hits could be okay, depending on who you get in your team, but anything more than that might not be worth it. It would be best if you could manage this week without using a free hit chip, unless it's absolutely necessary. This looks to be a pretty defensive week to use the free hit chip. There are only 4 fixtures and 8 teams playing this week. A better week could be Game Week 33, as it has better fixtures and more teams to target. You could even look at a double game week to use a free hit chip in the near future. Great, so for those of you who are using a free hit chip this week, it's important to have a structure and some key pointers in mind. These should form the basis of your free hit team and give you a good all-around squad for Game Week 29. The starting point of your draft should be to make a note of your overall team value and money remaining in your bank. These are 2 critical pointers that will help you get the best players you need. Every FPL manager might have a different team value, so not everyone might be able to afford the same players and picks. So keep that in mind. I feel this week it's a lot easier than other times, as most of the teams that are playing don't have premium players in their teams. The likes of Arsenal and Tottenham do have a game this week, but you should be able to afford them, as the other players that you pick in your team would be a lot less in value. Now, a lot of managers won't be playing their free hit chip in Game Week 29, and their teams would have some popular players. If you are on your free hit, then you need to make a call whether to go for those popular players or do things a bit differently by moving away from the set FPL template. I feel if you are using your chip, it's worth taking a risk and you should go a bit differential. Another really important thing to keep in mind is how many premiums do you want to play in Game Week 29 along with the combination of your differentials. You could easily get a mix of both, and selecting these players carefully would go a long way in getting you a good score in Game Week 29. One last thing to note is what formation do you want to play with. There are a variety of options available. You could play with 2 strikers up front with a 4-4-2 or a 3-5-2. You could also play with all 3 strikers in a 3-4-3 or a 4-3-3 formation. Now let's talk about our first draft. This draft is a bit defensive, as we've covered the most owned players that a lot of managers not using the free hit would definitely have in their teams. We have a total team value of around 103 million, and that remains a constant for all drafts. In goal, we've gone ahead with Martinez, who's the highest owned keeper in the game. Aston Villa don't have the easiest of games against Spurs, but with Kane and Bale mostly starting in this one, there would be a lot of goal attempts, meaning more shots on target as well. This also means more saves made by Martinez, giving him the additional save points. Also, with such high ownership, if Martinez gets a haul, you would drop more ranks than you would want. Our second keeper is Sanchez from Brighton. He faces a Newcastle team that would be without a few attacking players and have the 4th lowest XG, which is expected goals, in the last 5 game weeks. There are chances of a Brighton clean sheet, and Sanchez in the mid 4 million price offers great value. Now the safer pick out of the two is Martinez, but if you fancy a bit of a risk, Sanchez is a great shout. Coming to our defense, we've doubled up on the Villa defense with Matt Targett. He's another player who's highly owned among managers. Targett has been a great option in FPL this year. He is among the top 10 highest scoring defenders this season. He's definitely a great threat going forward, and with a clean sheet potential as well, he could be a decent double up option for Aston Villa this week. But to be very honest, I'm not expecting Aston Villa to get a clean sheet this week, so Martinez in defense might be a better shout. Our other sub 5 million picks include Aaron Cresswell from West Ham, Kieran Tierney from Arsenal, and Stuart Dallas from Leeds. Cresswell and Tierney are facing each other and offer a huge threat going forward. The West Ham defender is also on set pieces, and that really increases his appeal by a great deal. He has created 7 chances in the last 5 game weeks, providing 2 assists, making him top in terms of FPL points among all defenders. Now Tierney is a bit tricky though. He has been playing decent this season, but injuries have halted his progress. It will be interesting to see how he's used in Arsenal's midweek Europa League game. He started the first leg, but with Arsenal having 3 away goals and a 2-goal lead, he might be rested. His progress should be monitored closely for sure. Our third defender, Stuart Dallas, is coming up against a very tight Fulham defense. Dallas plays in midfield these days, and that's a huge plus for FPL managers, as there's more potential for attacking returns, along with the added bonus of getting a rare Leeds clean sheet. Our cheapest option in this first draft in defense is Veltman from Brighton. He has looked good recently, and ranks top for goal attempts and second for expected goals in the last 5 game weeks. Brighton have been decent from a defensive point of view, but to be fair, this game against Newcastle has 0-0 written all over it. I would definitely take that if I have a Brighton defender in my team. Now in terms of a midfield, it was looking pretty good until we got some injuries in game week 28. A major name that you won't find in this draft is Heung-min Son. He got subbed off because of a muscle injury against Arsenal. Now Mourinho said that he doesn't know how long it is, but I'm not very hopeful. Son has played a lot of games this season and clearly needs a rest. To be honest, if he's fit, there's no way that he's not in our free hit draft this week, but for now we're going without him. Now guys, a lot of managers would have a thought of a double up or even a triple up Spurs attack for game week 29, but with Son not playing, Bale looks like an automatic pick. He had a pretty quiet game for Spurs against the Gunners, plus he was taken before 60 minutes. I think all of us expected that, as he has been playing around 60 to 70 minutes if he's starting a game, but you'll still take that if he's giving you attacking returns. I'm not sure how will Bale and Kane play without Son, as he was creating a lot of chances for the duo, but going in without Bale, especially if you are on a free hit, feels a bit risky. Guys, the other premium option in this draft is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang from Arsenal. He didn't feature in the North London derby because of a disciplinary issue, but he should be back for the West Ham game. He also has a Europa League game this week. Managers should keep an eye on him and his minutes midweek, but he's a strong pick for game week 29. West Ham defense is no pushover, but Aubameyang has been playing well after the recent change of his position. He's third in terms of XG for all midfielders in the last 5 game weeks. He's shooting a lot more and looks dangerous when Arsenal attack, and that's mainly because of his position and playing more centrally in attack. From the same fixture, we have the Hammers attacker Jesse Lingard. He didn't feature in game week 29 as he was facing his parent club Man United, but Lingard has looked like one of the best players for the Hammers. He's in the top 5 midfielders for goal attempts over the last 5 game weeks. Keeping in mind this is after he's played a game less than everyone around him. He's making a lot of runs in the final third and also took that dodgy penalty against Leeds. Don't think he's gonna take one soon, but his attacking numbers are good and he has the potential to do well against Arsenal. Our fourth midfielder this week is Rafinha, and even though he has not given us a lot of points in recent games, I've kept my faith in him, making him the go-to man whenever Leeds play. His numbers look really encouraging. Over the last 5 game weeks, he has created 20 chances along with 16 goal attempts. He looks the most likely to get a goal or an assist in that Leeds team. It's just that he has been a bit unlucky with Bamford lacking in finishing, otherwise we would be having an entirely different conversation right now. The final midfield spot in this draft is quite open at the moment. There are a few players that are doubtful for this week. These include Jack Grealish and Traore from Aston Villa, Son from Tottenham, and Bukayo Saka from Arsenal. Obviously all of them are decent picks for this week, and if any of these are fit, then we play them, but in case none of them are available, we have gone for a replacement in Ademola Lookman. He has been Fulham's best attacking player this season. Every time he has the ball, it looks like he's going to do something with it. His value is dirt cheap around the 5 million mark. Leeds don't keep a lot of clean sheets and have the 5th worst XGC, which is expected goals conceded in the last 5 games. Anwar El Ghazi could be another option from Aston Villa, but if Grealish and Traore won't start, it would be hard to go for a Villa attacker. Brighton and Newcastle don't really have any good options available. The other option for Arsenal and Spurs are not guaranteed starters, so I'd probably stay away from them for now. In attack, we've gone ahead for a strong 3. Patrick Bamford is a doubt for now. I read a couple of articles online that mention it might be a dead leg and he could feature against Fulham. If he's fit, there's no doubt that he should play. It might be a tight game against Fulham, who look good defensively, but Leeds have the ability to score against anyone. Guys, Harry Kane in this team is a no-brainer and is also a good captain's pick for Game Week 29. He looked really good in the last 10 to 15 minutes against Arsenal, scoring a goal which was ruled offside, then hitting the post with that free kick, and then finally taking a free kick which went over. He's still top for goal attempts and chances created among all forwards, showing that he can score goals and even pick the right pass for his teammates to finish. I think he's one premium player that you cannot miss out on this week. A must-have for sure. The third striker in this lineup is Mikel Antonio, who has had a couple of quiet games for West Ham. He scored a goal against Tottenham and Man City, but then has blanked against Leeds and Man United. Now Arsenal could be another close game, but I feel with Lingard returning for this game, things should be a lot better. Now guys, with a Son injury and a cheaper replacement in Lookman, we've got a lot of cash available in the bank, and this could be used to upgrade to a Son or a Grealish if they are fit for their game in Game Week 29. In terms of our playing 11, depending on Bamford's fitness, we'll play him or Lookman. All the rest of the attackers are pretty set. In terms of our defenders, we would be playing a back 3 with Cresswell, Tierney and one of Veltman, Dallas and Target. Now coming to our second draft, and this is where we've tried to do things a bit differently. Instead of going for the Villa defense, we've gone ahead with a triple up on the Brighton defense. I feel they're a huge differential in the game, and a clean sheet against Newcastle could lead to massive gains if you've invested heavily in defense. I would trust Brighton defense more than their attack any day. The numbers are not that bad, but it's just that they don't finish their chances. Guys, it's honestly a surprise to see them so down in the Premier League because they've had a good season. Guys, the Brighton triple up is their goalkeeper Sanchez, Dunk and Veltman as the other two defenders in our team. Both of them carry significant goal threat. This suit is definitely something that many FPL managers could explore this week. Our other keeper in this team is Dubravka, who has started the last 3 games for Newcastle and could be a good shout for the second goalkeeper. Guys, I don't feel that this game would be a high scoring one, and I won't be surprised if it's a 0-0. Just to give you guys a sense of different options available, we've gone ahead with Dawson instead of Cresswell for the additional attacking threat through set pieces. In midfield, we've gone ahead with the same 5 in case Son, Grealish and Saka are unavailable. Another differential route we could take is probably Trossard or Pascal Gross from the Brighton midfield. Doing this means that we'll have to tone down on the Brighton defense as we already have a triple up. I feel both midfielders are okay options considering that they're playing a Newcastle defense and are just a single weak punt. Trossard looks a slightly better pick here. He looks more likely to score. He scored the winner against Southampton and has a better XG than his Brighton teammate. Gross on the other hand is more of a creator. He has created 3 times more chances than Trossard, and numbers show a similar story when we talk about expected assists. In attack, we've retained Kane and Antonio and gone ahead with Josh Maja from Fulham. All his attacking stats get him among the top 10 forwards in the last 5 game weeks. That's a good record for a 5.5 million forward playing for a Fulham side who don't score much. He didn't start the last game against Man City as the focus would have been on Leeds, so he definitely has a higher chance of having a better game than the likes of Watkins who faces a Spurs defense, probably without Jack Grealish. In terms of a playing 11 guys, we would probably play a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2, playing one of Maja or Trossard. The playing defenders could be both Brighton defenders, along with their keeper, and one of Dawson or Dallas. The strategy is a bit risky, but if it comes off, you're surely on your way to a big green arrow. The third draft that we have also has a few good differential shouts for Game Week 29. We retain Sanchez and would play him ahead of Areola because I really think Leeds will score in that game. I don't think it'll be as high scoring as last time, but I have a feeling both teams will score. In terms of our defenders, we have a couple of really good additions. Jamal Lascelles, Newcastle's captain, has scored 2 goals in his last 3 games. Plus, there is a chance of a clean sheet if Brighton have an off day in attack. I don't think so many people would look at Lascelles, but he could probably be one of the biggest differential picks in your team this week. Now, continuing with our differential trend, we also have Reguilon from Tottenham, who always looks good going forward. My worry is that Tottenham don't keep a lot of clean sheets, but Aston Villa have been really poor in attack in the last few games, so there's definitely a hope of a shutout. He's still a good way to break away from the set template and try something different in Game Week 29. For this draft's midfield guys, we've gone ahead with Anwar El Ghazi, as he's most likely to start this one and could be another differential in this team. He also might be on penalties, so that's an added bonus. Having Trossard in midfield is easily possible, as we only have a double up on the Brighton defense. This draft is also more reliant on Villa scoring against Spurs, and we've gone ahead with Ollie Watkins. Now this spot is up for grabs for sure, and we could also look at someone like a Lacazette, since money is not a problem. In terms of a playing 11 for this one guys, we could go ahead with a 3-4-3 or even a 3-5-2 in case we have both Watkins and El Ghazi. Now in case we have Lacazette, it makes more sense to go ahead with a 3 up front with 4 across midfield and probably Trossard on the bench. We are again going for a back 3 here with Lascelles, Reguilon and Cresswell along with Sanchez in goal covering the Brighton defense. Guys, these were some of the best free hit drafts that you could have for Game Week 29. Now coming to another very important section of this video, a lot of FPL managers would have already used their free hit chips or might not use it this week. Possible injuries to Son and Bamford have made this game week even more trickier for this lot. They are among the second most popular players in FPL with more than 50% ownership. Now ideally we should wait for more news on their injuries before making any transfers. Bamford might not be long term, and it's probably okay to leave him on the bench for this one in case you want to play him for the next 2 game weeks. I feel taking a hit still doesn't make sense unless it's for Kane, who's also a good captaincy option this week. Other forwards this week don't look that attractive, and it might be better to see the Son out at the moment. Replacing Son is also a bit challenging this week, as you might not want to keep replacements like Aubameyang for the upcoming game weeks, given Arsenal's commitment to the Europa League this season. The first option is obviously to hold him and just leave him out on the bench. In case you don't have the likes of Rafinha, that could be a decent move till game week 30, and it also gives you a good player for game week 29. Now same is the case with Grealish. That could be another transfer if he's fit, and probably do the same with him. Keep him till game week 30 and move him out in 31 as a transfer or a wildcard move. You could also replace Son for the likes of Lingard and bring him back once he's fit. For people who've gotten rid of Fernandes, this could be a great opportunity to get the United midfielder back in their team. I agree that is possible, but it is not a transfer for this week. In terms of other transfers, you should definitely think of getting a Brighton defender for this week and then put them on the bench for the next 3 games. This is quite an easy move if you are playing your wildcard in game week 31. West Ham don't have the easiest of runs, but a Cresswell or a Lingard is another potential transfer that could stay in your team for a few weeks. Guys, I still feel it is okay rolling this week with 7 to 8 players. The average number of players across this week could reduce with the recent injuries. You could still take a hit or 2 if you are confident of keeping the incoming players for the next couple of weeks, but don't panic if you don't have a playing 11 for game week 29. I genuinely believe the average score this week is going to be low, and just try to minimize the damage the best way you can. So that'll be all for this video, guys. To summarize, free hit in game week 29 looks a lot better than before with all the injuries that have happened over the last couple of days. I would still say wait for more news on these players before hitting that free hit button. In case your team is in really bad shape, then definitely go for it this week. I hope I was able to help you guys with your free hit chip planning, and even those who are not using the chip this week. Guys, make sure to give this video a like if you found it useful. Subscribe to our channel Insanely Football for all the good FPL stuff. We will be coming up with the next video on Thursday, where we'll talk about our team selection, transfer strategy, and some of the best captain picks for this week. Do hit the bell icon if you want to get notifications for the same. Happy tinkering with your teams, and I'll see you Insaners next time.